because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which shook up all commercial real estate sectors to some extent, it's possible REITs are actually better positioned to withstand a downturn now because this is very interesting because tenant quality has likely improved since the pandemic in sectors like office and retail. The likelihood of a tenant going bankrupt is probably less now than the pandemic. The impact will probably be more muted than the global financial crisis in the terms of rent decline or same-store net operating income. It says an analysis by the business journals of the 180 publicly traded REITs found that median market capitalization of those companies has declined 24% between December 2021 and June 2022. That's still double the median market cap of those same 180 companies in the late March 2020, the start of COVID-19. So we're above where it was in March 2020, even though it's dipped 24%.
Well, March 2020 shut down. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
the REIT shut down.
In 2 years later, in June 2022, there is a decline, but we're still above where when we shut down pre-pandemic.
If anything, the pandemic did for a lot of these REITs, it was more of a gut check, you know, kind of like.
Well, that's what they're pointing to is that they're saying like the tenants that are in place are a much stronger and high quality tenant now that they've gone through the pandemic because it's like the weak have been taken out and the stronger companies, the ones that want to be here, the techs, the financial companies, you know, the ones that have come in and signed the 20-year deals in these new high rises, Class A or what have you, or maybe renewed their old, you know, leases, are strong and ready to, you know, go through this. So it says one sector that has been closely watched through the pandemic's office, given how potentially disruptive remote work will be for office landlords if tenants decide to significantly downsize their real estate. Tech companies have been the largest leasers of the office space since pandemic. That's what we've seen in Miami.
Yeah.
Techs coming from Silicon Valley, financial people are coming from New York, down the Wall Street, the South, in West Palm, and we're feeling a lot of tech down here in Miami. It says although they're inking new deals at slower pace now than the pre-pandemic times, still the S&P report said that the slowdown in demand for the tech tenants could erode overall leasing activity because of how much the industry has driven growth in the office demand. Watch this though. It may seem counterintuitive, but Saucer said he's heard from some office REIT executives a slowdown could actually prove favorable for office sector in the medium term. And this is why. Demand for space would likely slow initially, but if the labor market loosens up, meaning that it's going to increase, right? We're at 3% right now.
Right.
But with your article is going to show with the JP Morgan, people are laying people off, right? With them laying people off,
it could increase employment sector than other,
which will increase, which will help the office tenants, or the office the companies that are actually have secured office space. It's going to be, that's why they say it's going to be counterintuitive. Demand for space would likely slow initially, but if labor markets loosen up, that could flip the current dynamic in which office-using employees lobbying for remote work have more leverage over bosses that want them in the office. If the dynamic shifts from the currently competitive labor market to a tougher job market, office REIT executives are hoping for office utilization will tick back up. So that's very interesting, right? Like REIT landlords are saying it would demonstrate the need for office, he said, adding and argue that demand would dissipate once the labor market tightens again. So it's a real funny situation, right? It is one way right now, but as labor markets loosen up, that could cause more demand for office, which could tighten demand for the REITs, which could help share, holders in the REITs and make that tighten. But then as employment comes down again, then it's another story.
Of course, because what happens is once, there's more individuals out there looking for jobs, it gives the landlord, the bosses, the ability to say, you want this job, it's yours, but you have to come in every day.
Yep, exactly. It's